Guys, happy Friday, happy end of the semester. We're almost done. I went ahead and went with the video option only because I'm so tired and it's been finals week, and you guys know what it's like to be a college student or professor or TA, and it's definitely a chaotic week. And I just felt like writing a paper was just, it was going to be a little bit more dreadful for me, so I went ahead and went with the video presentation type of thing. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump right into it. So this assignment is going to be the assessing family strengths, the six of them. So I guess to start off with my introduction, as I would to do it in the paper, I'm basically going to be talking about the six major qualities from the family strengths perspective in the movie that I chose, which you will know that I chose my favorite movie growing up, which was The Parent Trap. Says a lot about my age, 90s kid. And as well as, when I go through these six strengths, they're really going to be my own perspective, like my definition of them, not so much based on the book, because I know that's not what we're supposed to do. It's supposed to be really our own perspective of them. And once I go through each definition of my personal definition, I'm going to go ahead and provide some examples from the movie. I'm going to try to use some different ones from the paper that I wrote last time, but, we'll try to get through it. Also, I just want to say excuse the quality. It's here where I live in Anthony. I'm sure in Chris's too. It's raining really hard, and it's super cozy, but I'm actually sitting in front of my window, and I put a lamp here, and I will try to talk as loud as I can because my voice is very low and then could be kind of high pitch and stuff. So I also have my notes with me. So I will be looking down and up, not always at the camera, just so you know, so I could have everything prepared. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. So the six major qualities of a strong family. Excuse me. The first one is going to be appreciation and affection. Personally, to me, this is letting everyone in your family know how much you care for them and how much you truly appreciate everything that they do. For example, in the movie, when Annie and Hallie, which are the two main characters, the twins, they're at a camp and they don't get along at the beginning, and they get put in kind of like an isolation camp where they get put together. And that's really where they, start bonding, and they realize that they're twin sisters, and they really appreciate each other and what they've gone through and what their plan is to try to get their parents back together. They really start to appreciate one another. And yeah, so there goes the first one. The second one is going to be commitment. To me personally, I would say that commitment is dedication to being there for one another. No matter how busy we can always be there to support each other. This is one thing that I felt needed more attention in the movie because, um, the parents, which is Elizabeth and Nick, they don't give much explanation, but they do separate. We discovered that they separated. They got into some big argument, and one lives across the world from one another, and the fact that they kept their daughters away from each other, and it was like a big secret that they had a twin sister. I feel like that wasn't very appropriate. I felt like they lacked commitment and communication. No matter what problems they may have had, they could have put their differences aside. So some advice that I would give them would be to, really, learn to communicate and be there in dedication to, regardless if they didn't work out, it's about their kids, and, really just coming together as a family to overcome this. So the third one is going to be positive commitment. And for my definition, it's being able to overcome difficult situations no matter what happens. That's just positive commitment. Again, this relates back to the commitment in the movie, or I should say the lack of commitment in the movie. The movie is kind of left for us to discover why they separated. Like I say, they don't give much detail as to why they separated. Like I said, there was a big fight and stuff. But towards the end of the movie, they come back together, and it's a, positive environment for them. And yeah, they overcame the situation. So like I said, positive commitment to me is just being able to overcome these difficult situations, which at the end of the movie, they reconnect and they get married and married again, and they become a family. So they were definitely able to overcome that. The next one is going to be enjoyable time together. And this to me means being able to do activities together to bond and to really get to know each other. Um, in the movie, and like I also wrote in my last paper, the girls, um, Nick, the dad, he takes the girls to a hiking trip, a camping trip with his new fiance Meredith. And as we know, like it's not the greatest situation for them because they're trying to really get their mom and Nick back together. But that was something that I think really showed a great example was how Nick and the mom Elizabeth like agreed to sending the girls off and like being able for them to bond with each other. This gave Nick the opportunity to bond with Annie, who he hadn't really spent much time with, obviously because they were separated, but as well as for the girls to get to know their new stepmom, which if you guys have seen the movie, doesn't go really well with all the pranks that they play on her. But moving on to the fifth one. Yes, fifth one, excuse me. And that is spiritual well-being and shared values for me. And it kind of like going based off of the book, it's not so necessarily like religion. I would say like, yes, that definitely plays a big part, but religion is also something that's very controversial. And like a lot of families have their different aspects of what they think, plays into their household. But for me, it's not so much religion, but it's like that atmosphere that's created in the home, being able to create a positive and loving environment. It's the way that we act and the way that we communicate with each other and just, really bringing in, like, as they say, those no bad vibes type of thing. I hate saying that because you'll find that, like, on t-shirts. Anyways, going off topic. But yeah, basically it's like that. No bad vibes, like good juju. Let's, go ahead and create that great environment, which, could be related to spiritually. Like, hey, whatever you believe in, let's go ahead and create those positive vibes to get through this. In the movie, I don't think they don't really talk about like spiritual and like um, like that, like the well-being and stuff. But I think it kind of overplays in the movie in general, like how they're able to overcome such big change. And I'm assuming they live happily ever after, so their environment is definitely very positive and stuff. So that's great to hear. And for the last one, excuse me, is the ability to manage stress and crisis effectively. For me, in my own definition, this is being able to overcome all problems we encounter, but in a good manner. What I mean by good manner is like not lashing out. Like we're able to come together and really overcome this. In the movie, this is the one that I highlighted the most, that needed the most attention, and that goes back to the camping trip again. If you haven't seen the movie, like I said, Nick is getting engaged to Meredith, and the twins, are trying to separate them. They don't want them to be together. They want their parents to reconnect with, their mom Elizabeth. So in this camping trip, their goal is to like get Meredith mad and like, they play all these pranks on her. If you haven't seen the movie or if you read my paper that I did, like they put rocks in her backpack and it gets her tired, and they put a lizard on her head that ends up like in her mouth. And her last straw was when in the night they, she takes a sleeping pill, I guess, and they drag her out of her sleeping bag and into the lake. So when she wakes up, she's in the lake and she falls, and that's definitely, not appropriate behavior. Obviously it's a movie, but, that's definitely not acceptable. It's not, the girls weren't able to, overcome this crisis. That was not the way to do it. I would definitely give them advice like, hey, that was not okay. Like, I think communication is key, so I think if they would have talked to their mom and dad and let them know, like, hey, like, this is how we're feeling. Like, we just, Meredith is, you got to be honest. And then, apparently Meredith wasn't the greatest person. She was really mean and rude to the girls, but, that's when you really voice, let it be heard what it is that is bothering you to overcome this. I think the girls definitely could have communicated better to express how they were feeling towards Meredith and not necessarily play these mean jokes on her. So that's it for that. I'm going to go to section B, which is the self-reflection. Sorry, I know I'm kind of going over a few minutes, so hopefully that's okay. So I'm just going to kind of like go through the questions on my phone through the app. So what quality do you value the most? And for me, the quality that I value the most is affection and, appreciation and affection, excuse me. And then it asks, what influences your choice? Culture, specific person, an event? And this really is influenced by my mom. She was a single parent and she raised my older brother and I. And, she's just so kind and so loving and she always just showed so much affection towards us. And, that definitely is the reason why I chose this. And the third one is, when did you know this quality was the most valuable? Childhood, singlehood, marriage, parenthood, midlife? Again, like I said, this has to go to my childhood. My mom was, singlehood, and, it's great because I'm so blessed to say, because as you guys know, it's not a secret, I'm openly gay. And, my mom created such a great and safe environment for me and my older brother. She just did an amazing job in caring for us, and she gave us hugs, and gave us kisses, and, that it was just great because that's one thing she said growing up, we're Hispanic, and in Hispanic cultures, it's not very, especially within her time, as she explains it, like, parents really didn't do that back then. They really didn't show affection. It was, something that kind of lacked. So my mom said that was always her goal, was to show her kids affection. And that's definitely the reason why I, value this as a kid. I had a great childhood, thank goodness. And the last question is, has this choice changed over time? Why or why not? Like I said, it hasn't changed. It's even up to right now, we're very affectionate. We're a very affectionate family. Like, as we've gotten older, it's not so much like hugs and kisses, but it's like, sending each other text messages and like, hey, like, I hope you have a good day today. My mom will text me or my brother will text me, like, if I have an exam or like a presentation of like, good luck, like, you're going to do great, or at work. And it's really just, it's been the same, the affection and, the appreciation of each other, that we really are such a close family. So that definitely, hasn't changed for me. It's something that keeps growing, and I'm very happy to say that I'm fortunate to have that. And that's basically it. As for the conclusion, it was basically just getting all of these ideas and putting them together and really being able to, work these problems out within the movie. I think it's great, as I mentioned in my paper, that it's great, that I was able to take this knowledge and what I learned from like the book and everything I learned in this class to really apply it to like a movie. I thought this was such a great a great assignment. I was a bit nervous, like I said, because I wasn't sure like what movie I could use. And then when I thought, well, Parent Trap, it was interesting to be able to take, like I said, the information I learned in this class and the knowledge and apply it and like look at it in the movie and be like, hey, like that's one of the values, and hey, this is what they could do to better it. So I thought that was definitely great. And yeah, it's great to be able to, apply that knowledge. And I definitely, felt like this assignment did a good job in helping all of us. At least it did for me. So I feel like I'm definitely a step closer into, starting my field and, being able to use what I apply in class to real life experiences, just like I was able to in this movie. And that's about it. I kind of went over a few minutes. Like I said, I hope that's okay. I really didn't want to rush this video, but yeah, I hope you have a great holiday. And, thank you so much for everything that you did. I thought this class was so much fun, and I think you were just so organized, and like you were just on top of everything and all the feedback that you gave us. And I really want to say that I appreciate that as a college student, because college could just be so stressful, and you definitely made this class a breeze, and I enjoyed it. So like I said, happy holidays, and thank you so much. Bye.